Hey you all, I'm so excited to be here and welcome to my kitchen stories. That's the first video of this channel ever, so I hope you will understand my excitement, and probably we're gonna have a bit of an interesting ride today, so let's see how it goes. But today we're gonna be cooking gingerbread dough, so that's the baby over here. I have one prepped for you already, but I really love this recipe. It has been on my blog for over 7 years already. It's spicy, it has an amazing kick, but as a bonus it's also healthier version, so it has the low GI sweeteners that I use. So we're gonna be using agave syrup, we're gonna be using coconut palm sugar, and for the flours I'm gonna be using wholemeal spelt flour and then the regular spelt flour as well. For the cooking, you're going to be needing a pot. So gingerbread dough is one of the things that I always do inside a pot with a wooden spoon, whereas I really love my sweet KitchenAid, but that is one dough that we are going to be making inside the pot on the stove. But before we begin, then maybe a few words about me. I've been cooking for more than 8 years already. Started out with a blog, then ended up working as a recipe editor for the magazines. Also been featured in some TV channels, now currently doing a podcast on food. And basically I live and breathe through food. That's the thing that I really love to do. And what I hope is that I hope to inspire you to cook more at home and to try out all sorts of different recipes, different flavors, and to trust yourself that you can actually do it. So I truly hope that Paula's Kitchen Stories is going to inspire you to get cooking. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are already a seasoned cook and already know your way through the kitchen really well, then please give me some feedback, share your ideas, share your tips. I'm really open to hearing all of that. And if you're opening your oven for the very first time and you have never tried anything and you are, I would say, convinced that you can't cook, then I'm inviting you to join in on the ride, and I hope I can prove you wrong. That because cooking actually is very simple and life is supposed to be simple. So I hope to inspire you with some delicious, flavorsome and awesome foods throughout this channel. So stay tuned. So today we're going to be cooking some gingerbread dough because of course December has kicked off, it's holiday season and it's an amazing weather outside today. So it's sunny, there's snow, there's I think -10 or something here in Estonia. And it's the perfect weather to get cooking on that dough. So basically, let's kick it off. First and foremost, the first thing we will do is we're gonna need the pot and we're gonna add in the coconut palm sugar. And then we need to add in 250 grams of the agave syrup. We're gonna need a kitchen scale for that. I have one over here. So let's put that. Then definitely see that it comes down to a 0 before you start adding the syrup. So there we go. And then 250 grams is about the amount that we need. So usually you would go with the regular sugars and regular syrups and you would be cooking that into a syrup along with the spices. But I love to use agave syrup and coconut palm sugar because as we look at the GI scale, it goes on a scale of 100. And on a scale of 100, agave syrup has the GI of 15 and coconut palm sugar has the GI of 35. So it's a lot lower than the regular sugar, which is ranked somewhere to 60, 70 on the scale. Can benefit you if you have diabetes or if you just do not get along with those carbs as well, which is the case for me. So my body just rather, I would say, prefers the low GI carbs more. But then the most important part for the gingerbread dough is of course the spices. And I think if I can give you one tip while preparing your gingerbread dough, that would be to grind your own spices. So there's a huge difference. You can also get those ready-made gingerbread spice mixes from the store, but there's a huge difference between the flavor and the scent and the intensity of the blend. So if you grind them yourself, you're gonna have kick-ass gingerbreads, trust me. But you can, of course, also get the one from the store and just then toss it in. So we will need some cardamom seeds. So if you look at cardamom seeds, they originally are, of course, they're green and they are inside this nice seed. So if we would now want to use those, we need to clean the seed. And we would cut off the edge of it, then tear it open. And then inside you find those little seeds that you can now use and then put to the grinder. I have already some of the clean ones over here, which comes in handy. So it does take a little bit of time, but trust me, the flavor and the intensity of the cardamom is well worth the effort. So next up, we're gonna need some nutmeg. I have this little baby over here, and I have also a ready-made piece for myself, but I will show you how to break that up. So you're gonna need a mortar and a pestle. You're gonna put that in and just hit it with the pestle. Yeah, I think it's named pestle. So just give it, exactly. And now I have 2 pieces, and then basically you can do the same with this one, just hit it. It will break into 2 or maybe into 3 or 4, depending on how hard you can hit it. But you would need about, I would say, about this size of a little piece. We're gonna add in 5 cloves. So let's go. And you will already start to smell the spices, smell the holidays. Oh, it's gonna be so nice. 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and then we wanna go for 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And then all the spices go into the pot. And we want to turn the stove on. We don't wanna put it into too high, so we're gonna keep it at a medium, let's say. Currently I put it on a scale of 1 to 9 to a 6 or 7. So we just want to get the heat up from below, slightly stir it through, and to keep your eye on the sugar caramel, because you don't want to let it burn. Once it starts burning, it will ruin the taste, and then you're gonna have to start all over. So I'm just slightly gonna stir it. It's lovely. So it's almost ready. We want to see a little bit of bubbles, which we do. So if you look at it, you can see a little bit of bubbles going on there. Yep, that's what we're searching for. And I could say we are ready to add in the butter. So we have then 250 grams of butter, as I said before. And you can find the recipe to the gingerbread dough below in the description box. And there's also going to be a link. The mixing and melting the butter is just about enough time to let the caramel cool off. So we could be starting to add in the eggs. So for mixing in the eggs, I would now switch over from the spoon to the whisk. So get your whisk and put in the eggs. And then as quickly as possible, just start to whisk them in. Again, you are looking to get a nice even dough, a nice even mixture. You don't want to see any bits of the eggs or anything anywhere. So that's the thing that you're searching for. It's kind of even like a jello type, but it's nice and even. So, and we are ready to start adding in the flours. I mean, it's just actually so super easy to make the gingerbread dough. 7 years ago, I thought I would be a lunatic to do that myself. But after my first try, when I gave it a chance that I might actually make my own gingerbread dough, I realized it's so simple. And I have never gone back ever since, because once you make that, you will realize that the dough you get from the store, it's nothing even near to the taste that you will get when you make that yourself. I've had readers writing to me that it's the one dough that they go back to year after year. And it's so heartwarming to hear all of that feedback. So super happy, and I hope you will like it as well. So first I added in 400 grams of white spelt flour. And why I'm mixing white spelt flour with wholemeal one is because I want to keep the fluffiness. I want to keep it light and airy and a nice even dough. But I also want to add in some nice fiber and good minerals from the wholemeal flour. But before we now add in the wholemeal flour, we want to add in a bit of baking soda. So you can also use baking powder if you want to. That's perfectly up to you. I like to use genuine soda. Works exactly the same. As the dough has become thicker, then now is pretty much the time we want to switch it back to the spoon. So let's just clean the whisk. Get some of that dough off of here. Yep. Oh, that's yummy. Let's have a taste. Heaven on earth. I might just eat it like that. This is so good. Amazing. So just mix it and then start adding in the second amount of from the flours, 200 grams. So we're gonna add a little bit, then hold on to the pot because you're able to start moving, and then just slowly mix that in until everything is evened out, and then add the second part. So the dough will be quite thick at this point already, so you see, mixing that in, and I can say we are almost ready. So one thing that is with gingerbread dough that you definitely need to keep in mind is that you can never cook gingerbreads in a way that we're cooking the dough right now and then hoping that we will start just rolling out the gingerbreads right after. That's just not the way it works. So gingerbread dough does take a little bit of planning in ahead. So ideally, it would want to set in the fridge for 2 to 3 days because the flavors of the spices and of everything that's inside, they get more intense in time. So ideally, go for 2 to 3 days in advance, or even better, go for a week in advance. In order to pack the dough, you're gonna need some plastic wrap. We're gonna be putting one piece of it horizontally and the other piece of it vertically on top. So we're basically going to be creating a cross from the plastic wrap. This way you will be sealing in all of the dough. Nothing will be running out of any of the sides, and then just cross it over. Slightly press those 2 layers to, what do you call it, like glue to each other. And then we cut the horizontal one opened. We cut that one from here, but we're gonna leave the vertical piece tied to the roll because we're gonna need to wrap it several times. So let's keep that attached to the roll for sure. And then to the best part. Grab onto the pot and then just scrape everything that you have here onto the plastic wrap. And try to aim for the center. Try to aim for the center and to get all of that in here. I'm using a spatula. So that's my favorite tool of all times in the kitchen. It really helps to clean up the spoon, really helps to clean up the pot. So all of that goodness, all of that sweetness, nothing goes lost. You will get everything from here. So just see that you can nicely clean the pot. Now we have the dough here. So first and foremost, you're going to wrap one side and then the other side. And then from the top and then over. So now you have basically exactly the same shape, just next to each other. We just want to toss and turn it a few times. So basically grab onto the sides and see now that you nicely wrap the edges and close the sides, and then go once more and maybe just a nice last one, and also get to close the sides. Get to close the sides from both sides, cut it open, and there you have it. So now the dough is ready, and we will put that to the fridge to rest for a minimum, as I said, for 2 to 3 hours. That's the minimum, so it has to actually set in order for it to be able, you to be able to roll it. The perfect version would be 2 to 3 days, but you can use a gingerbread dough up to 3 or 4 weeks. So then, last but not least, let's have a look at how the dough looks once it's ready. So you would have a picture of the actual result. So once you start unwrapping it, you will find that some of the dough might be sort of a bit unevenly here. That's perfectly fine. Just open it up, take the cling film, take the plastic wrap from it. It will come loose very easily. And there you have it. There's the nice dough. Just slightly rub the dough with a little bit of flour and then press it so it is nice and warm and easily rollable. Let's put that over here and then just roll it out. You would want to go for, I would say, 2 millimeters roughly. That's what will give you nice and fluffy gingerbreads. But if you want to go for a very, very thin, crispy gingerbread type, then roll it out to 1 millimeter roughly. Then you need shapes. I have a lot of different shapes. I have also those big heart shapes that you can use, but if you want to use those, I would recommend that you roll the gingerbread dough out on the baking sheet already, and then you shape the big heart, and then you remove the excess dough, because once you prepare that on the table and you try to move the unbaked huge heart, you will just break it and it might stretch, so it might not be that even once you start to cook it. So in some shapes, for example, also with that type of stars, it makes sense to roll the dough out on the baking sheet. But here we are. The dough is rolled out, so we're ready to shape out the gingerbreads. And once you have your gingerbreads ready, just cook them at 180 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes, depending on the shape and the thickness and your particular oven, whatever works for you and how crispy you want them. Basically, you just put the shapes here and then remove the excess batter while still having the forms attached. And then you will have the perfect little shapes like that. There we go, sweeties. Ready for cooking. And on that note, we are done. So the gingerbread dough has been prepped, everything is all ready, and the little babies are ready to go into the oven. I am so grateful that I got to share this morning with you, that I got to cook with you, and I hope to see you back soon. I hope you love the recipe. Please find it down in the description box. If you love the video, share that with one of your friends to give them some of that holiday good vibes. And of course, I will be super grateful if you hit subscribe to the channel as well. Wishing you a wonderful holiday season with lots of love and those cute little spicy gingerbreads. Sending you warm hugs from here from Estonia, and I hope to see you again in the next video soon enough. Bye bye!